Good morning everybody and welcome to the vlog. I hope the start of your day is amazing or whenever you happen to be watching. I'm not going to lie to you, my day's a little bit stressful and I'm about to tell you why. I'm climbing in with my girl Ivy here and Ivy is just hanging out in her water. But the last couple days I've kind of noticed that she's been gaping her mouth just a little bit. Every now and then I'll just see her up here, usually on the rock, and she'll have her mouth open just a little bit. These are little things that you notice when an animal might have a little respiratory or sickness infection. And you know, I'll be honest with you, last night before I left, I spent a little time with Ivy and she had a couple little bubbles that were coming out of her nose. And like I said, she was having a little bit of a hard time breathing, just barely, but I figured this was a great opportunity to, number one, talk to you guys about what's happening with Ivy and maybe help you if you ever have this situation and what to do next. You guys know that Ivy is legitimately top 3 animals that I've ever had in my entire life. I mean, I love this animal more than anything, and if anything were to happen to her, I literally don't know how I'd recover. I mean, that's how important she is to me. I love her so much. And to be honest with you, I'm really happy coming in here this morning. You can see we put a thermometer here in the water just to start getting an idea what the temperatures are. Because that's the first thing you're going to want to look at is what's the cause of a respiratory infection or a slight cold in a reptile. Now I will say that the water was about 82 degrees, which is about where we want it, and she's acting really good. You can see her tongue is coming out really good. She's moving around well. You know, I don't see any more bubbling and stuff like that, and she seems to be okay, but I definitely have to nip this now in the bud rather than letting it get worse, because once a respiratory infection settles in deep into the lungs of an animal, it becomes a major problem. So what do we do? What do we do if we have an animal like Ivy that is just got a slight respiratory infection? And you can see my guy Aries over here is doing extremely well too, and that's kind of the whole thing. And again, it's so weird. Look at how Ivy is. She'll just be sniffing my feet. She kind of hits her up. That's good. She's acting normal. Her tongue response is good. She's not gaping her mouth all the time. She's in the water. All these types of things. But you have to remember that reptiles are what they call ectothermic, cold-blooded, right? So whatever the environment is what temperature they are. And you know, with humans, we actually get a fever, raise the temperature to kill off bacteria. Reptiles can't do that. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we figure out what the temperatures are in here. And to be honest with you, when we checked, the hot spot was about lower 80s, 83, 84 degrees. I would actually like, and look at this, this is so cool, just seeing her come up and submerging like that. I mean, I'm telling you what, guys, that's why I love this animal so much, and nothing can happen to her. And like I said, that's why I got in the water this morning and wanted to really check her out. She's acting so normal, so good, you know. Now, there's a couple things I have to work on. Again, now work on the temperature. So what we're going to do is, number one, we're going to up the wattage of the bulbs. Try to get it up to the hot spot, maybe upper 80s, lower 90s. The other thing we're going to do is, this is the first time we've had this part of the reptarium during the winter, right? Because we opened up in March of last year at the end of the winter. And of course, we've got the doors right over here, which are probably a little draft coming in here at night with the heat lights going out. The temperature may be dropping a little lower than what we want, right? So what we're going to do is not only switch out the hot spots to a little bit hotter bulb so that it'll get a little warm in here, but also at night we're going to have red lights come on so that there's heat in here 24 hours a day. Now, 90% of the time, especially in the very early stages like Ivy is right now, we're probably going to be okay, and she's probably going to kick this within a very short period of time. But I'm going to definitely keep an eye on her, and the next steps that we would do if it got worse, which I don't think is going to happen, is we bring our vet in and start talking about potential medication. But right now, if you ever have a snake that just slightly gaped, maybe a couple bubbles, maybe just a couple little things you notice, I'm going to take you through the steps again of what we're going to do to try to make sure Ivy is good and that your snake can actually get too. Because, like I said, guys, nothing can happen to this snake. I love her so much. And by the way, I have a little guest here. What's up, Aries? What is up with anacondas, man? I mean, it's the weirdest thing. I didn't even know he was by me. He just all of a sudden crawls right up. I mean, I don't know, Aries does it, Ivy does it, maybe all anacondas are like this. It is the weirdest things, I'm going to be honest with you. But the other thing is, I want to keep an eye on Aries too, because Aries is in the same environment as Ivy, right? So if he's acting and seeming completely normal like he does, that's a great sign, right? That means that he's doing well. If both of them were starting to get sick, I'd know the temperatures were way off and I had to correct something immediately. I think there's just a little bit of tweaking that needs to happen, but nevertheless, I mean, as much as I think Ivy is the most curious and unbelievable animal, I mean, come on, guys. An anaconda just crawls up to you just out of nowhere. He was over there, crawls up and just kind of like hangs out with me like, hey, Dad, what's going on? freaking green anacondas. And here's Ivy. She's like, what's up too? She's over here. I mean, my gosh, guys, I love anacondas. And like I said, I'm so happy she seems to be acting pretty normal today. Last night, I'm not going to lie to you, I lost some sleep. I didn't sleep well last night because I was pretty stressed out about her. Just leaving last night knowing she had some bubbles gaping her mouth really, really bothered me. But I knew I had to get in here this morning and make those changes. So let's go ahead, jump into those changes and start talking about everything else while these guys are just curiously sniffing away at me. What crazy animals. So first thing that's so important when you're keeping a reptile is to understand what the temperatures actually is. You know, you can go and go, well, that's the hot spot. But if you don't know what the hot spot is, it's not going to help. So we use a temperature gun, right? There's a whole bunch of different temp guns that you can get. You know, some that are for the reptile hobby, some that actually are for other things that you could use as well. It's just a laser pointing thing. So I know that the cool side is over here where I'm pointing. You can see where the laser is, right over by Aries, and it's 82 degrees over here. And that's got one hot spot on it. This is the hot side of the cage, and it's at 86 degrees, almost 87 degrees. So it's really not that far off, right? You know, we want it probably right now about 90, maybe 91 degrees at the absolute most, right? You can see we have two heat lights on this side and one heat light on that side because we want that temperature gradient, right? We want the hot spot on this side and then the cool spot that they can get away. But the thing you got to remember, if we warm this entire cage up by 3, 4, or 5 degrees, the water is also going to warm up. That's 82 degrees right now. So if we can get the water to maybe 85 degrees, the hot spot to 90, 92 degrees, the cool spot still in the low 80s, it gives them a chance to get away from the heat if they want to. So by doing that, what we're going to do is add another light over to the hot spot over here. Just do another heat spot over here, and then we're going to add red lights so that they will go on at night. So these lights will go off at night, but the heat will still keep going. It'll drop a little bit, but at least it won't drop quite as much at night, right? So the first thing we're going to do is just add that extra light up here and increase the wattage just a little bit. Back at you with my good friends over at Raycon for another great deal for you guys. I have been completely telling you guys for the last year plus about Raycon everyday E25s. I've got them in my ears right now. I use them constantly, people. I'm telling you what, great company, great product. Don't break the bank, you know, so you basically have a super high quality earbud like the everyday E25s that are about half the price as a premium quality product, co-founded by Ray J. Super cool people like Snoop Dogg, Mike Tyson use these guys. You guys know if Snoop Dogg's wearing these things, they have to be really good, right? I wear these things all the time, guys. I wear them at the gym, I wear them at home, I wear them in meetings, Zoom meetings all the time. When I'm doing Zoom tours, I've got them. I've been using this particular pair for a year now, and they're still perfectly good. No need for a new pair because they are so absolutely awesome. Raycon earbuds start about half the price of other premium quality wireless earbud brands and sound just as amazing as these other top audio brands. And on one charge, they'll last up to 6 hours of listening time. They are noise isolating, they have more bass, and it actually has a really sleek small carrying case that can go up to 4 charges. That is 24 hours of charge time with that small carrying case. It's really cool. By the way, Raycon offers wireless earbuds in a range of full colors and patterns with a variety of fit options. I happen to be listening to a really cool book right now that's called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I tell you what, you know, I want to be an effective person, and it's nice because I can be working around these animals and have these earbuds in and not bothering anyone with loud music or anything else if other people don't want to do it. And right now we are going to bring you guys a great offer. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/BrianB to get 15% off your order. And they actually have a 45-day return policy. You're not happy with them? Just return them. But there is no way that you're not going to be happy with them. So go to buyraycon.com/BrianB and save 15% on your order. You can see I just added another fixture up here, and again, now we just need to add the red lights, but we like to use Power Suns if at all possible, because not only are they 160 watts, so they're going to put off a pretty good amount of heat, but also they give off UV light as well, so it's kind of a good thing. Much more expensive bulb, but it really does work well. So with these now 4 lights for heat during the day, we should be able to raise that temperature by at least 5 degrees, so that should in itself hopefully solve the issue. So that basically covers the temperature side of things and trying to get things together if you ever have this type of an issue. The other thing that can happen is humidity, right? If the humidity is too low or sometimes too high, it can cause respiratory or sickness as well. In this case, we know the humidity is okay because there's 500 gallons of water in a waterfall, so there's plenty of humidity for these guys, which is completely fine. So that doesn't have to be an issue, but it's something that you should pay attention to. Get a hygrometer. Make sure your humidity for your particular species is where it should be. With anacondas, we're looking at probably about 55-60%, which is at least that in here, no problem. And again, I'm continuously kind of monitoring her actions, right? I mean, she looks fine. Her mouth is completely shut. It's not gaping at all right now. I don't see any like excess bubbles or moisture or anything like that. So I'm going to keep an eye on her really for the next couple weeks, and hopefully this will be eradicated, because like I said, I'm less stressed today than I was yesterday. Yesterday when I really noticed it, I was freaking out, you know. I'm glad that she looks even a little better today, which tells me it's probably not progressing. Now, the last thing that I'm going to really do with this girl is you got to remember that snakes have what they call air sacs, which are like lungs, right? But they run basically about 3/4 of the body all the way down here. Now, when you feed them, obviously that air sac is going to get compressed, right? And you know that we just fed Ivy a pretty big pig just about a week ago. That, of course, is going to put a lot of pressure, and you can kind of see, I just want to see what she's doing with her mouth right now. Okay, she's going back in, but she's not opening her mouth. That was the movement that I saw yesterday when she would kind of back up. She would open her mouth and gape, a little bit of bubbling coming out. So I'm glad that that didn't happen. But again, that puts pressure on when you feed a big meal. I'm going to give her another week off of food just so that she can completely digest. Then whenever a snake has even the slightest amount of sickness, you want to feed small meals. So for the next probably 2 months, she won't get a giant pig. She's going to get 2, maybe 3-pound pigs. Maybe I'll feed her once every 5 to 7 days, small meals. Keep that kind of nutrition going, because you want the nutrition to be there so the immune system is at the highest it possibly can be. That's the thing. When a snake gets sick and then goes off of food, that's the double punch right there, because now they're not getting nutrition, their immune system isn't going up, and they're actually sick, and that's when things can get bad. So right now we're in pretty good shape. I just figured this was a good opportunity to teach you something as I was freaking out about one of my favorite animals I've ever had. So fingers crossed, I'll keep you guys updated over the next little bit. I think these simple fixes are going to be enough. And again, because this is our first winter over here, you know, we're learning. We have to learn these types of things, and I'm sure that this will really solve the issue. But please send me positive energy, guys. Keep Ivy in your thoughts. She's got to be okay. But I think we're on the right path, and I hope that this kind of helps you guys if you ever have a similar issue. Back to how snakes can get RI or get sick. And RI just means respiratory infection, so sickness and stuff like that. You'll see bubbling, gaping in the mouth, that type of stuff, wheezing. It's you know, it does happen. You know, it's about really early detection. You know, Cupcake here is obviously very healthy. You can see she's got a really good tongue response. You know, everything looks good. So basically, what you want to do is always get things early. If you actually pay super good attention to your animals, you can actually get rid of those types of issues if you find them, right? Again, temperature, humidity, you can just see right now I'm just feeling her. She's on the cool side of the cage, and she feels a little bit cool, which is fine. She's decided to come to the cool side of the cage. She can go to the other side of the cage that's much warmer, and I'm keeping an eye on temperatures, I'm keeping an eye on humidity, and then I'm just keeping an eye on how she's acting, right? You can see her tongue response is really good. Her eyes are really bright. I talk about that. Sometimes their eyes seem to be bright when they're happy and stuff like that. So all those things are really important, right? So early detection is the way to do it. You know, when people hear about a snake or a reptile getting sick, they oftentimes think, oh no, it's going to die. That's not the case at all. If you can catch it early like we did with Ivy, there's really a 99% success rate bringing it back, as long as there's not some underlying issue that's, you know, much worse than, say, just a little bit of a cold, right? So just keep an eye on your animals, really pay attention to how they're acting, where they're acting, and stuff like that. And if it does happen to you, follow those things. You know, get the temperature up, get the humidity up, do everything, you know, small meals, stuff like that, and there's a very good chance that your animal will rebound very quickly. Again, stress can be another thing. Reduce stress as much as possible, and it's not a death sentence by any chance, but like I said, definitely got to keep an eye on Ivy. I'll keep you guys posted. I know you guys love her as much as I do, so we'll get her good, but definitely a little bit of a stressful night last night. Definitely feeling better about it today. So again, I'll keep you guys updated on Ivy and how she's doing, and I hope that this will help you guys understand, you know, just what to look for and what to do if you do see something like that. And again, you know, she's looking fine. Those bubbles are air bubbles, not anything else. She's coming out, her tongue's fine. So I'll keep you guys updated. Again, please just keep sending those positive vibes. If you enjoyed this video for the informational side, could you please click on this playlist right here? It helps a tremendous amount with what they call click-through rate. Up here, you can subscribe to my podcast channel. Thank you so much for that. We're getting close to 3 million. Hit that subscribe button over here to this channel. Turn your post notifications on. Have an absolutely wonderful day. And remember, Be kind to somebody. I promise. I'll see you tomorrow.